About 7 or 8 years ago, I was searching for someone to teach drawing and art to one of my kids. My son Tommy showed a little bit of talent and he loved to draw, as he says, robots and monsters. So we looked around. I knew an artist here in the Joliet area, and I asked if she taught lessons, which she did not, but she recommended someone who turned out to be a fantastic teacher. The lessons involved a weekly trip to this gentleman's house and his basement studio for lessons. And I couldn't help but look around at all of these sculptures and pieces of sculpture and finished and unfinished paintings and murals and think, this is the part in the movie where you all of a sudden end up in a completely different dimension. Dante DiBartolo is a freelance artist with extensive experience in sculpture, murals, mosaics, set design and construction, and prop making. He also occasionally teaches art, lucky for me and my son Tommy. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. Thank you for having me on.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You are our first, I believe, our first visual artist, or at least the first person who that is kind of your primary vocation. So congratulations.
Thank you.
Actually, probably more congratulations to us, I would say. I think we're expanding our reach to all kinds of different artists. Dante, were you born and raised in the Joliet area? I know that's where you live now.
Close. I was born and raised in Burbank, up by Chicago.
Oh, okay. All right.
And I moved out to Homer Township when I was 10. And then I started hanging out in the Joliet area around college, like 88.
Where'd you go to college?
I went to Joliet Junior College and got an associate's in art. And then I went straight into freelancing after that.
Excellent, excellent. I know you've been doing that in this area for ages. As I mentioned in our cold open, I found you through another artist in town who recommended you as someone who could teach my son kind of the basics of drawing and illustration, those kind of things. And we were very lucky to find you.
Thank you.
Although he has moved on and away from art, I used to love to watch him. He would watch TV and just sketch, and as he said, draw robots and monsters all the time. And as he got into high school, soccer and school kind of pulled him away from that a little bit. I was sorry to see it go. Although on the other hand, it seems like a tough road to go sometimes. You're one of the few people I think I could point to in my own experience that is a professional artist. I know you do this basically full time. Do you have any other gigs? Are there other things you do aside from the art itself?
No, actually, it's right now I'm doing art full time. Yeah,
that's impressive because I have to assume it's difficult and that it's a little unpredictable.
Yes, yeah. It's kind of like in my case, it's like it's either excess or famine. You either got nothing going on or you got too much. Early in the career, it was almost all famine, but
I would imagine. Yeah, and is it one of those things where the word gets out? You do one project.
Yeah, it's basically every artist that I know, they spend a lot of time networking and stuff, and you build up a series of contacts. In my case, I can't speak for every artist, but in my case, it was just I built up. I would get a lot of work with other like design firms and companies that would hire me to do work, and they would just keep calling me back more and more over time. And then I started a lot of the work I get is through word of mouth. So like if I get one client, I do artwork for, they pass the word on to somebody else. After about 20 years, it's gotten to the point where it comes in reasonably regular. So I get a reasonable amount of work each year.
Is that about how long you've been doing this as your vocation?
It's almost 30 now. I started in 92.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. And in terms of the networking itself, I'm very interested in the nuts and bolts of that. Is there a website? Do you guys have meetings every Thursday? Or, how does it work that you guys talk, and when I say you guys, I mean you, other artists, get together or find out about work that may be out there?
There are formal places, a lot of like like colleges have like forums and stuff. I haven't used that resource in a long time, so I don't know how much it's changed since I went to college and stuff. But there's a Joliet actually has a pretty good art community. There's like art shows and stuff. There's one place called the Strange and Unusual Gallery that has shows pretty regularly, and there's a lot of artists there that hang out. And then there used to be Sue Regis's place, which is now Wayward's. That's also another location. And then there used to be Friends of Community Public Art, which is where I got started, which is a an art group that did a lot of the murals and sculptures around town. And they also brought in a bunch of artists and stuff over time. And then for a short period of time, there was another group called the Art Movement, which we were trying to set up. I was a part of that, and we were trying to set up that as like a networking place for artists to get together and find work. But
Yeah,
that shut down.
I'm vaguely familiar with those last two organizations, and I wasn't quite sure how they worked in the sense that was there were there brick and mortar offices somewhere? Were there places where you and other artists could get together and talk about the work that was available, or plan projects or work collaborate together?
Yeah, for the art movement, there wasn't. We just recently just started that, and it never really got off the ground. For Friends of Community Public Art, they used to be located in the old Steelworkers building on
Ah.
Ottawa Street. So we had an actual building there, and that was a pretty good organization for the time that it was active.
And was that the kind of thing where other organizations or municipalities or groups that were seeking some kind of public art, did they just kind of find that organization that you belong to and submit proposals or requests or you know, I have trouble kind of wrapping my head around how exactly you find out about this particular project, a sculpture project, for example.
Yeah, it's I wasn't involved in the actual leadership part in terms of Friends of Community Public Arts, so I didn't at the time know too much about it. I do know a little bit now. Like a lot of times, people that are looking for artists and stuff sometimes would contact the city. Sometimes they would contact Joliet Junior College, and then the college or the city people would point them towards us.
Oh,
So
excellent.
a lot of it was that. Some places like in Chicago and stuff, there's websites that are a resource where they can go to the website and find a list of artists and stuff. We never really set something like that up, so it was mostly word of mouth.
Have you found that you've put your name into those other lists as well, other areas like Chicago or other?
No, actually, I never really I was one of the lucky ones. I never really needed to. Um,
Excellent.
when I started working for Friends of Community Public Art, they liked my work, so they kept me on. So I worked with them for quite a while, and then early on, when there wasn't enough work full time year round, they referred me to another design studio down in Coal City called Studio Signs, who's run by a guy named Rick Romero, and he hired me to do work for him, and that's where I learned how to sculpt. And then
Oh,
I learned how to sculpt on the job through him, and he liked my work so much, so I just basically worked for him. Whenever I didn't have work with Friends in the Community Public Art, I would work for him, and between the two, I had year-round work. Then what happened was, is as his work kind of dried up, I started picking up my own work, and then at the point it got where my work was almost full time. I started working with him part time, so I would kind of bounce between all three things. I would do my own work. I would work for Studio Signs, and then I would work for Friends of Community Public Art. That lasted until I think like 2000, like 2008 or so. And then after Friends of Community Public Art started, the work there kind of dried up a little. I started picking up my own work. And then that eventually just started getting to the point where I have enough of my own work that I pretty much work full time on my own.
excellent. Now, do you uh, do you also work with younger artists then in the community and try to help them kind of find, show them the ropes, so to speak,
Yeah,
based upon your experience?
it's I don't have anything formal like that, but I do have if the job's big enough that I can hire other artists to help, I do that.
And although my first personal experience with you was basically kind of basic art lessons, and it was more kind of an illustration drawing type of lesson, I guess, for my son. What I knew you as and what Sue Regis had originally recommended you as was your sculpting and your sculpture. There are a number of projects in this area that I see your name on, or at least I find out later that, hey, Dante did that one, and I didn't even realize it. So, for example, my understanding is that the brand new Tiger at Joliet West Stadium, was that one of your jobs?
Yeah, that was one of mine. Yeah. A lot of the work around Joliet was through Friends of Community Public Art, and
Gotcha.
the two artists that I worked for the most was Kathleen Farrell and Kathleen Scarborough, and they hired me to help them on their projects. So I did a lot of work on different projects for other artists. But every once in a while, I would get a project that was completely mine, and the Joliet Tiger was one of those. That was a fun job. It turned out
Yeah,
quite
it
nice.
was that only went up about 2 years ago now, but it was part of the process where they were modifying and improving the whole entrance to the stadium. And that's where my kids all went to high school. So as my boys were getting ready for the soccer season to start, I want to say 2 years ago, I walked by because that was brand new. That statue was up there. I wanted to go up and get a better look at it. And if I'm not mistaken, your name is on this. Is it on there or is it on a plaque
Yeah,
below?
I had a bad habit of forgetting to sign my work sometimes, but I remember to put my name on the back legs.
I walked by and I looked down. I was like, "Hey, that's Dante." I ran over, got my wife. I said, "Take a look. Guess who did this one?" It was exciting to see that, and I know you've got work in other towns here in the Will County area. I think there's at least one or two kind of street art pieces that either are or were up in Lockport, for example. Am I mistaken about that?
Yeah, they had an event called the Ducks on Parade, which is a kind of
Yeah.
I think it was a one-off thing. They had these fiberglass ducks they gave a bunch of artists to decorate, and I did I can't remember the name of the company. It was a bar. It was in front of. Let me see if I can bring up the picture on my computer.
And while you're doing that, I don't want to forget to let our listeners know that they can find your work and also contact you through Facebook.
Yeah, my
You,
Facebook, I don't have a website, but I have a Facebook page called Dante DiBartolo Studios. And it's kind of like a poor man's website. I don't friend anybody on that one. I do have a normal Facebook page, which is just Dante DiBartolo. And then that one I friend people on, but the other one's purely just my work. So I just post my projects and stuff and all my artwork as
Yeah,
I
that's where I get to see a lot of stuff that you've done more recently because you and I haven't been in touch as much since Tommy bailed on the idea of art as a career. But it is a great Facebook page to look to see examples of your work. So I recommend everybody go to Facebook and go to Dante Di Bartolo Studios. It's a great place to see what you've done in the past.
Yeah, I try to I'm a little behind on my posts, but you can find most of my artwork on there. I've got to catch up on some stuff. Oh yeah, it was in front of Ember's Tap House in Lockport. That's what it was.
That's the one I
Yeah,
remember seeing.
yeah, and they had
Believe it or not, I'm sorry. Believe it or not, I was going into a bar, Ember's Tap House, as a matter of fact. And again, I was like, huh,
yeah,
I
they
wonder
had
if
the,
that's
the the
us.
bar is really nice. It had a nice like 20s theme to it and stuff. So I went with like the 1920s flapper girl. So I decorated the duck like a flapper girl, and it turned out pretty good.
So I have a quick question for you, Dante. I'm always interested in the creative process. So what's the difference between like when you're commissioned to do like the tiger for the high school versus your own, inspiration that you have? I mean, is it different for you or is it just become part of the
Yeah, it's
process?
like yeah, that's the funny thing. It's like I almost all my work is commissioned, so I hardly ever do my own work. So
Okay.
it's always within certain parameters. You've got some leeway, but the client does have a lot of influence in terms of the work you do when you're Like for example, the Lockport the Joliet Tiger for the high school, they were pretty open in terms of the style that I chose of the way I sculpted the tiger and the position. The only parameters I had is I had to duplicate the look of their logo and the color scheme, the school colors. The Lockport duck was different. Basically, I was able to do my own thing. When I went there and I saw that they had that 1920s theme, I just came up with the idea of the flapper girl.
Cool.
So I was able to throw that in. Sometimes the idea hits me like right away, which is the case with the flapper girl. Sometimes it takes me a little while. I just have to kind of think on things for a few days and bounce ideas around. And sometimes you just doodle different ideas, and most of them look like crap until something just kind of hits you, and then you start locking in on an idea. So it's yeah,
So
it's a
when you're going through that, is there a process where you're sharing your ideas, like so
yeah,
that you don't go too far down the path and they're like, no, that's not what we want to
yeah.
know?
Sometimes I'm lucky. I have a lot of good friends that are also artists and stuff. So sometimes I can call them up and get advice. That helps a lot because sometimes it points you away from potential mistakes you make. And it's
Yeah.
the more people you can, you don't want to like, sometimes you don't want to like lose, sometimes design by committee is a bad thing, but it's always good to
Yeah.
have feedback from a different set of ideas because they can do several things. They can tell you if you're making a mistake, or they can give you an idea that you haven't thought of, which is
Right.
pretty nice to have.
Yeah.
Yeah, Joliet, as you said, has seems to have a very strong art community, and it seems like you're all pretty tight. Again, I'm on the outskirts of all that, similar to the way I'm on the outskirts of the musician community that's in this area as well. But on social media, I follow people or I'm friends with people, and it does seem like there's a very supportive group of people in the art world here, similar to what I've seen with musicians and the bands that play around this area as well.
Yeah, it's like I've been really it's been a pleasant surprise in terms of how friendly everybody is. I really like Joliet's got a bad reputation for some reason, but I think it's a pretty nice town. I mean, it's like
Yeah.
the people here are really friendly. The relationship with the like the local government and stuff's pretty easygoing, and you don't have it's always been nice and easy to work with the city and stuff with a lot of the public art projects we've had. So it's
Yeah, in the administration of the city of Joliet seems to change with some regularity. It seems like, any mayor we have only lasts for about 2 terms and then, is supplanted by a new mayor. But it does seem pretty consistent, the support for public art in this area, at least in the city of Joliet. And I'm not as familiar with some of the other municipalities, but it does always seem like they're coming up with something new or putting out some more public art in conjunction with something downtown, whether it's the minor league baseball stadium or the newest project is there's this tremendous improvement to the city center, very near the courthouse and the old Rialto Theater. Have you had any contact, or are there any projects that are specifically connected to this new kind of park green space?
Yeah, there's going to be a big art installation in the city center when the park's finished, and there was a competition opened up to artists which I participated in. I didn't win, but I did make it to the finals. So it's
Congratulations.
yeah, so it's they do have a piece that's going to go there. Yeah, it's like Joliet was like when I was working with Friends of Community Public Art, Joliet really had a lot of funding to beautify the city and the downtown areas. So we were able to do a lot of artwork during that time period, and the city became known as like an art city, and
Yeah.
it was actually nationally known. It was we were right after Chicago and Los Angeles in terms of being known as
Oh, that's cool.
art cities. Yeah, it kind of lost that a little bit in the 2000s, but I think they're starting to try to ramp that back up again so they can get that reputation back, which would
Yeah,
be
there's
really
certainly
nice.
there are a lot of murals, a lot of sculpture, a lot of other things that a lot of it has been here, almost since I moved to the area, because I'm not a native, but it does seem like they're always trying to improve on that. And as I said, it doesn't seem to matter who's in the administration at that particular time. I'm sure it has a lot more to do with budget than it has to do with, the actual leadership.
Mhm.
Do you have any specific projects that you've done over the last 10 or 20 years that are your favorite, are things that you really, really are proud of, and would be the first thing you would show someone if they wanted to see, what Dante's best work is?
Right. Yeah. It's like, yeah, I haven't really thought about that too much. I think I'm really proud of the work I did with Friends of Community Public Art. I've been lucky to be involved in that organization. Just the sheer amount of work we did. I think the stuff that I was most involved in was were the murals around Joliet Central High School, the train, along the train tracks there, the viaducts by the train. There's a series of actually four large murals along that the train tracks there, right across from the school, and those were not only were they really good designs. It was during a time period when we actually had a lot of experience and we knew what we were doing. We had a lot of good artists working on those, and they're really nice pieces. A little aged now because the wall's kind of in bad condition, but I'm hoping that we might be able to do some restoration work on those in the future.
Yeah, those are one of the first things that jumped out to me. How long ago did you do those? Were you involved in
those were in crap, it's been a while.
it's been quite some time, right? Because I feel like they've always been there as far as I'm concerned. As and again, I've been in the area for 30 some years, but I'm wondering exactly when those first went up.
Yeah, give me 1 second. I'll look it up.
Sure.
Sometimes I lose. I think we did when I was working for Friends of Community Public Art, we did around like almost 200 projects.
I have to look shit up for Tom all the time too.
Okay, I almost got it. I found the right book at least. Okay, here we go. So you just got to find the page that has the dates on it.
Now, are you searching kind of your own database for
Yeah,
your own projects?
there's I have a file that has all the projects on it. And oh yeah, it was the 1999 for one of them. So yeah, it was like the late 90s, early 2000s is when those were done.
Yeah, so that was roughly 5 years after I moved to this area, and I didn't actually live in Joliet until probably '02. So that's why, as I started driving around more and more in downtown Joliet, they've always been there. It would be great if they could get you guys out there and get them to either update them or just spruce them up some. Do you have anything on the horizon? Are there any projects that you're able to talk about that you're excited about?
Well, currently the one project I'm working on I'm working on it for Kathleen Farrell and Kathleen Scarborough. We're doing a sculpture of Mother Jones that's going up in the city of Chicago, and it's going to be a 1.5 times life-size sculpture of her, and she was a famous union activist that she did activated for like child labor laws and stuff like that. So that's one project. Most of the other stuff I'm doing is kind of just small jobs here and there.
Now, do you end up, do people find you to do private residential type of work as well? Or do you find that you're mainly doing public art?
It's actually some of it's private. But it's mostly the majority of it is more commercial work. Like I do some mural work for this fitness center called Challenge Fitness in Lockport. I did a couple of murals for them recently. I do a lot of work for there's a casting company up in Chicago called Chicago Fiberglass Works, which hires me a lot to do work for them. And actually we kind of give each other work from time to time, because like if I get a sculpture commission, I usually have them make the mold and do the casting. In terms of how I get work, the work I do also brings in work. Like there's the city of Tinley Park. They have a public event similar to the the Ducks.
Oh,
They have, it's called the Benches on the Avenue, and they have park benches that artists decorate each year. And my cousin got me involved in that. And when I did the park benches that we decorated, the city liked the work so much. So when the Tinley Park gets businesses that are looking for artists, they throw my name out, and
oh, nice.
that actually got me a nice mural job with a company called Brixmore Group, which is I think a property investment company, and they hired me to do a mural on one of their buildings in Tinley Park. So
Well, that's really interesting to me
yeah,
because I will admit that as I was sitting down trying to think about what to ask you and how to present, give you an opportunity to present what you do for a living,
mhm,
the first thing I thought of was how do you make a living as a professional artist? And
right.
because I know you, I mean, you're not working for a big advertising company or anything like that. I mean, you basically, I've seen your basement. You kind of work out of your home. It's a studio down there, but you seem very independent
Yeah.
from any kind of corporate type of thing. And it's very interesting to hear about how those things happen. How it's just kind of connections to connections to
Yeah, it's like
connections.
it's just building brick by brick kind of thing. Just the nice thing is a lot of the companies that I work for, I've been lucky. I've had pretty good relationships with the people. The clients I've had have been pretty good. They when they like my work, they call me back consistently, or they give my name out to other people. So it's yeah, it's basically just trying to build up that relationship.
I think that's fantastic. I think the fact that you've been able to do that and carve out, a creative life
Right.
that allows you to pay the bills is really, I don't know. It makes me happy to know that that's possible for people.
Yeah, it's like there's the other thing I could also mention, there's another route that artists can go, which is the gallery route, which is a little bit more difficult because you have to find galleries that are willing to show your work and sell it.
Hmm.
But I know a lot, like the more successful artists and stuff, they tend to go that route as well.
Right.
And that it's more difficult to do that though, because you have to establish like a really unique style or some kind of like hook or theme that catches people's eye. And it's especially nowadays with just the sheer volume of artwork like people can find online and stuff, it's hard to come up with stuff that's original. I've been lucky in like my skill set. I've been really good at like, because I'm good at so many different things, I'm able to to duplicate whatever the client needs. So that makes it easy for me to do other people's artwork and stuff. And the fact that I'm able to help other artists a lot, I get a lot of commissions through other artists helping them with their work as well. And then being able to do sculpture and art also helps because like
Hmm.
if I can't find sculpture work, I can still find mural work and vice versa. So that helps out quite a bit as well.
Well, depending on what your goal is as an artist, if one of your goals is to have a lot of people see your work, if you want to share it with people, it seems like the route you've taken meets that goal much better than someone who's showing stuff in specific galleries. That's not to say that they can't be successful. And of course, there's the internet and there's magazines and there's books, etc.
Yeah, I
But
think
your stuff is out there. People see
well,
it every day.
yeah, it's because I do a lot of public art. So
Yeah.
doing murals and stuff outside, that gives you a lot of exposure to the general public.
Yeah.
The gallery route can still get you some good stuff, but it's a more enclosed community and stuff like that. One of the drawbacks to my work is because I do work for commission, I don't get to do a lot of my own work. So
Yeah.
that kind of hurts. So there's trade-offs to
Yeah.
everything. Because like when you're working for somebody else's artwork, you kind of like gotta basically suppress your ego because you're doing the work for the other artists. So you're trying to help them create trying to help them present their vision,
Yeah.
not necessarily yours. So there's trade-offs to it. It's getting the nice thing now is I'm starting to get to the point where I can afford to take some time off and do my own work,
Good.
which I'm hoping to be able to do this winter and start doing some of my own stuff.
Excellent, excellent. Well, keep us posted,
Yeah,
and again, we're happy to repost things on our social media as well as put stuff up on our website, including on our as mentioned page, which I have already brought up previously, but there will definitely be a link at the very least, to Dante's Facebook page, and you can see some of the work that's out there now.
Thank you.
This is probably as good a time as any to shift into one of our favorite parts of the podcast, which is coming up with a playlist. Are you ready, do you think?
Okay. I probably not. I'm not too much into music, but I'll try.
Well,
But you've given us the best topic ever because there's so much room for creativity, which I think
yeah, it's the one thing is like my music taste is like all over the place. So I like a little bit of everything.
yeah, so when we were corresponding earlier, emailing back and forth and texting about this part of it, I could tell you were struggling a little bit with coming up with an actual theme.
Yeah.
So the theme that you came up with, we've decided to title "Shit We Like." Because it does, and as you said, you've got a nice collection of songs that really don't have any direct connection. Certainly not by genre, because you're, as you said, you're all over the board. But I love it. I think it's great. And as Chris said, it from my point of view, I was like, awesome. This is just I can pick songs I haven't been able to get on a playlist yet because I couldn't figure out how to crowbar them in. So it's I like it. I think it's going to work well.
So with our playlist, Dante has the first choice, which was the song "No Wow" from The Kills.
Yeah, that was I like that band. I'm a big it's kind of funny, like my age, most of people I know my age, they like a lot of songs from the 80s and stuff, but I lived in the middle of nowhere, so I had terrible radio reception, so I didn't really listen to music until like the 90s. So I'm a little bit I actually have a slightly younger music taste than most people my age. And I actually got into I like punk rock a lot, and the like alternative punk and alternative rock was a big thing that kind of appealed to me. That happened to be one of the bands that I actually like a lot of their music. And that was like one of the more. It's still a reasonably old song, but it was one of the newer songs that I remember, more recent songs of them that I remember that I really liked.
Excellent.
Yeah, it's a great choice. And echoing what Tom said, this gave me a chance to put in some songs that I've been wanting to put on playlist. So I tried to sort of tie it up, and Dante, you didn't have to do this. I just am a geek about this stuff. So I tried to tie it into multiple things we do for our show or things we've mentioned. I went ahead and chose for my song one from a Canadian band, the Bluestones, and the song is "Come Apart." I actually chose that as a staff pick several months ago, and I can't stop listening to the song. It's just got a heavy bass, a heavy beat. It's a driving forward type of song, and one of my favorite parts, and I think I said in the other show, is guy says, "Bite me, I bite back," and he just keeps repeating that over and over again. It's just one of my favorite "fuck you" parts of a song. So
excellent. My first pick for the playlist is a song from Joy Aladukan from Proof of Life. The song is "Somebody Like Me." It came out very recently. It was 2023, and I can't remember how I found it. Chris, you didn't recommend this one to me, did you?
no, I don't think so.
Because I share an Apple Music library with my kids, sometimes their stuff pops up on my lists or I get recommendations because of theirs. And I'm guessing because this is relatively new. Anyway, it's just a very cool song. She's got just a really cool voice. I don't know. It's just kind of a fun, sexy type of song. And I haven't listened to a lot more from her other than this Proof of Life album. But again, this was just an opportunity to get a song on that I couldn't ever really figure out how to sneak onto a playlist. So it's "Somebody Like Me" from 2023 from Joy Aladukan or Aladokun, I think.
And I think she sings a song with Chris Stapleton. It's really good.
Oh, really?
Let me we'll do what we do all the time.
Yeah,
I'll introduce your
ahead.
song, Dante, and then I'll look it up, but I'm pretty sure I'm right. All right. For your second song, number 4 on the playlist, you chose "Weatherman" by Dead Sarah.
Yeah, that band's actually one of the newer bands that I just recently found. I just really like their sound, that like strong kind of rock and roll with the little alternative in it. And I just like their sound, and that happened to be like one of the more it's got an aggressive beat to it and stuff, which I liked. Sometimes yeah, it's a It's just a pretty strong song, which I like.
Awesome.
And yes, I did look up while you were introducing. Joy
That's
Oladokun
it.
has a song, and it's her most popular, most played song called Sweet Symphony with Chris Stapleton.
Awesome. I
Uh,
am going to listen to that as soon as we're done today recording.
my 50-year-old memory still works. 59-year-old memory,
I
I
was
should
going to say
say.
50. You don't remember
Yeah, I
how
wish
old
it
you
was
are,
50.
though.
All right. Fifth song on the playlist, my second one. So I chose this one for a very specific reason. I just started reading books by an author, fuck him, S.A. Hinton.
Nope.
No,
Cosby.
Cosby. I keep doing S.A. Cosby. That's the second time. That's my, I don't know why I keep messing his name up. He's a Southern noir writer, is how he's described. I'm on my second book of his, and it's the first book was it
Blacktop Wasteland. And
Blacktop
then
Wasteland.
what are you reading? Razor Blade Tears right now?
Yeah, but in
I'm a
Blacktop,
huge.
yeah, it's great stuff. In Blacktop Wasteland, there's a character called Lazy, who's this sort of white Southern mafia king. So I went with a song about a similar character called Old Man Gillich by the Muscadine Bloodline. It's from their 2023 album. It's a great story song about a guy you don't want to fuck with down in the South. And Muscadine Bloodline, I've been listening to for a while. They're starting to blow up a little bit. They had to cancel a local tour because they got tabbed by Post Malone to open up for him.
Oh,
So they're starting to get a little bit bigger. So I won't be listening to them too much longer. So
that's another thing Chris and I have, which is that if somebody gets too popular, all of a sudden we don't like them anymore.
All right, you're up, Tom.
All right, my pick for the playlist, number 6 song on the playlist is by the Lumineers. It's Cleopatra from the album Cleopatra from 2016. But if you've got, at least my version has an acoustic demo version at the end of that album. And although I like the one that originally was on the album, the studio version, I really, really love the acoustic demo of Cleopatra. It is a song that I think was pretty popular. I know the album was very popular back then, but it is just an awesome song, just a great song to listen to. You know, if you like the Lumineers, this is everything that's great about the Lumineers.
Agreed. They're very, very popular, but I still like them. So
Yeah, that's our exception to the rule.
I've seen them twice. They're one of the best live bands I've ever seen. They do a really, really good. They put on a really great show.
Yeah, I have not had a chance yet.
All right. This brings us to your third song, Dante, and a true classic and one of my favorites, Fortunate Son by Creedence
Yeah.
Clearwater Revival.
Yeah, that's well, obviously it's just a classic song. Great band, great sound. I don't know what else to say.
Yeah, there's not much to say about that
Yeah.
one. It is fantastic, but it does definitely illustrate the breadth of music and genre that you used in
Right.
choosing your song.
And ironically, I was at a 5-hour drive back and forth to a vacation at the beach a couple of days ago, and just listening to, I don't even know what I was listening to. And there was an interview with John Fogerty talking about how for a while he just didn't want to play CCR songs when he played solo. First off, there's all these legal battles going on, but even after that was over, he was so angry. And there's one show they were doing, and Bob Dylan was up on the stage with him, and he said, basically, dude, you got to play your old stuff for these people. He's like, if Dylan told me I should do it, I should do it. So I thought that was kind of a cool story.
Fuck Bob Dylan. He plays his old stuff, but he rearranges it so much you don't even know what song he's playing.
That's true. But he didn't say I had to play it the way they wanted it.
Exactly. That's what you do, is to play it differently. Because I spent a whole Bob Dylan show listening to the words so carefully because I couldn't figure out what songs he was playing. And then all of a sudden be like, oh, hey, I know that song.
All right. This brings me to mine. And this reflects back to what Dante said. Even though the song's from 2006, I always think of the Honey Dogs as a 80s or 90s band. And I love their song, Those Things Are Hers. It's another breakup song, and it's an awkward one because I think he's with another woman and he basically won't let her touch any of the stuff from his previous girlfriend. It's like,
Wow.
Those things are hers. And he lists all the various things that he's going to hold on to because he can't stop thinking about her, can't stop remembering her. So those things are hers by the Honey Dogs. Tom?
My final pick for this playlist is Au Revoir by the Front Bottoms from their album Talon of the Hawk, which came out in 2013. We've talked about, or I've talked about anyway, the Front Bottoms in prior episodes. I'm a big fan of that band. They're very kind of punk influenced as well. Dante, I don't know if you've ever listened to it, but they're a lot of fun.
No,
And
actually.
this song is the most fun because it's basically it's some arrogant asshole basically acting like he's too smart for the girl he's breaking up with, and her response is just fantastic, and it's all contained in this little 3-minute pop song. Really worth listening to. It's a lot of fun. And again, could never quite figure out how I was going to get this on a playlist, so I appreciate your theme.
So we've Tom and I have had some fun getting songs on here that we couldn't otherwise. And Dante, you wrap us up with a fantastic final song.
Yep.
Run Right Back by the Black Keys.
I'm not really knowledgeable in music too much, but it sounded to me like they had a nice rhythm and blues sound to them, but it was mixed in with the rock, and I really like that sound. And the just the overall vibe that band has with their music was really good. And then that song was one of the ones that I particularly liked.
Yeah, I agree. Great way to wrap us up.
Yeah, they're a great, kind of, I don't know, new rock band. I mean, they're such a great blues rock band. I'm a big Black Keys fan, and that's probably my favorite album of theirs is El Camino, which is the album that Run Right Back is on. That is a great closer for a playlist for sure. That takes us to our first regular segment of the episode, which is our Loft of Wisdom. Every episode, Chris and I are trying to select some quotes that go up on our website. It's all very reminiscent of when we were in college and would literally physically write them on the lofts that we slept in our room in the fraternity house. We try to pick quotes from songs or books or movies or TV, whatever we can find. And I believe, Chris, that you have a bit of a theme going this episode and have something from a book.
I do, which is rare for me. I'm going back to S.A. Cosby, and I'm saying his name right this time. The first book of his that I read over vacation, Blacktop Wasteland, I read in about 2.5 days. I just couldn't put the damn thing down. Unlike Cryptonomicon, which took me about 3.5 years to finish. And I just kept going through and highlighting, even though it's a Kindle, I kept highlighting different quotes that I loved. One of them was this idea of this guy, the main character, was basically a getaway driver. And he talked about how he loved the thrill of that. And like he's cruising down the highway with the cops on his tail and everyone in the car wishing they'd worn brown pants. I thought that was a funny, hilarious line. But the one I went with was one in reference to his wife, because he's having to get back into the crime world. She's not happy about it, and she's digging at him. I think she was actually making fun of his dad, who's a big influence on him. And he takes a step back and he says, the thing about loving someone was that they knew all your pressure points. They knew all the spots that were open and raw. You let them into your heart and they cased the place. So I just think that's a great insight. Like I said, he had any number of quotes, and I'm about a quarter of the way into the next book, and I've already highlighted like 5 things. He's a really good writer, and sometimes you feel guys try to like drop those lines in almost as a point, but his just sort of, I just think he's a great writer.
I am 100% in agreement. I think way back when, maybe almost a year ago, I think I had recommended, it might have been Blacktop Wasteland. I agree with you completely. He reminds me of Mosley.
Yep.
They both are very good at writing in genre. They write different genres and different regions too. Mosley is kind of the LA guy when he writes his detective noir stuff, and Cosby, everything he writes feels so Southern. And but he's just got that great handle on dialogue, and I'm with you. In fact, I hope he just keeps cranking books out for as long as he can, like Mosley has done.
Well, what that does show is that I can get through a book in less than 6 months, and I never listened to you because if you recommended it, I don't remember.
It was quite a while ago. It was quite a while ago. But you don't ever listen to me, so I mean,
No.
both things can be true.
That's true.
All right, my quote for the Loft this week is a part of a song lyric from Zach Bryan. It's from the song "From Austin," which came out in 2022. The quote that I want up on the Loft is, "People ruin people. I don't want to ruin you." It is part of a verse that it hits me every single time I listen to the song, and I listen to this song frequently. The verse starts, "There's concrete below me and a sky above so blue. People ruin people. I don't want to ruin you. I'm just a sickness and you seem to be the cure. How much can a Southern girl honestly endure?" And it's probably the song I listened to where I decided, I don't care how popular this guy gets, I've got to keep listening to him because he's such a great songwriter. You introduced him to me, Chris, with like, what was it? Something Tooth. You put a song.
Crooked Teeth, I think is what it
Crooked
was.
Teeth. Crooked Tooth or Crooked Teeth, whichever it was.
Yeah.
And I was like, it's pretty good. It's not bad. And I listened to some more because of that. And then when I heard this song, I was like, yeah, this guy is at a different level for sure. You can find our Loft of Wisdom as well as other pages, including our As Mentioned page at thirdsonginpodcast.com. On the As Mentioned page, by the time you listen to this, you can find a link to Dante's Facebook page. And I invite you, Dante, if you have any photos or any links to your work from other sites or other places, please give them to us. All of that will go up on the As Mentioned page. I'd like people to get a good look at your work if they can.
Okay. Yeah, I appreciate that.
That brings us to Post Facto.
It's a mistake. It's a mistake.
So Post Facto is our opportunity to correct mistakes or add information that we invariably leave out episode to episode. According to the outline, Chris, it appears to me you've made no mistakes in the last week.
Not that it's been caught on tape. So
really, the only thing that I wanted to add, because this happens so often, is I got frozen while we were recording and I couldn't remember literally something we had talked about like 10 minutes earlier. But we were trying to remember the name of Jason Segel. And then I remembered his name and I couldn't remember why we wanted to remember his name. So I don't think anybody really cares about this, but it was all because he's in the show Shrinking on Apple TV Plus, which I love. And we were talking about him just in general. And that was the thing I was trying to remember was the show Shrinking on Apple TV Plus because he's so fantastic in that show. Next up is staff picks.
Random, just around the corner from you.
Chris, what are staff picks?
Staff picks are Tom and I's attempt to recreate what it was like going into the record store or the video store. And our kids probably don't even know what we're talking about when we say that. But when you go into Blockbuster or Street Side, be a board that would indicate new stuff that was out that the people that work there recommended to you. And you might find someone who you started to trust their recommendations and buy it blindly, as Tom and I would often do. So Tom and I are recommending new stuff or stuff that's new to us as well. Yep. What do you got, Tom?
So on May 9th, 2025, Arlo McKinley came out with a live album called Live at the Burl, B-U-R-L. I actually meant to look up exactly where the Burl is, and I didn't. I don't know where it is, but I will tell you, it is a great live album. I saw McKinley play live at Fitzgerald's in Berwyn, Illinois, outside of Chicago about 2 summers ago, and it was one of the better live shows I had seen in probably the last 5 or 6 years. Fitzgerald's is a relatively small venue, but it was pretty packed. It was kind of a standing room thing, and we managed to snake a table in the middle of the floor, my wife and I, and it was just awesome. He sells merch like everybody does, and after the show, we went up to look at the merch, and I didn't buy a T-shirt, or I might have bought a T-shirt now that I think about it, but I definitely bought a sticker because he sells stickers that said, Arlo McKinley made me cry. And if you listen to a live show with him, he sings like 4 or 5 really sad songs. So I thought it was a really funny sticker to buy. So I haven't figured out how to use that sticker or where to put it, but I have it. And he's playing again this summer back at Fitzgerald. So I think my wife and I are going to go catch another show with Arlo McKinley. But Live at the Burl did just come out about a month and a half ago, and it's really good. And it really does capture his live show and kind of the feel that you get when you sit and listen to him. What do you got?
Well, you thought I had a theme going, but it was so heavy-handed that I decided to switch it up at the end. So I was going to recommend S.A. Cosby's new book, which just came out when we're recording this about a week ago, King of Ashes, which I'm looking forward to, but I'm going to try to read. You don't have to read them in order, but I'm going to try to read books preceding that one before I get into it. That just seemed a little too much S.A. Cosby for one episode. So I went ahead and did a switch to a song I haven't even heard yet, but I just saw that they released it. Honeymoon Suite has a new song called
Really?
Ever Leave You Ever Leave You Lonely. So Honeymoon Suite, Dante looks like you may or may not know what I'm talking about. Definitely an 80s, 90s band. I saw them live back when I was in college. I had this I did buy a shirt just like Tom did. I had a t-shirt that on the front said Bad in really big font and then Attitude. That was one of their big songs. They're 80s pop rock, maybe 90s. They faded quickly. I did choose one of their songs for one of our recent episodes where they did a movie for the Buddy movie.
That was right. It was Lethal Weapon.
Lethal Weapon. In fact, the song was called Lethal Weapon.
Yep.
Which is a really bad song. And this may be a really bad song too, but it's Honeymoon Suite. So I don't know how I couldn't recommend it. So Ever Leave You Lonely, new single by Honeymoon Suite. As soon as we hang up, I'll actually go listen to it.
Yeah, I was going to say, recorded from their nursing home. They've got to be older than us, right? Holy hell. I'm impressed, man. That's impressive.
I wonder how long their hair is now, because they were a serious hair band.
Yes, they were. I remember that. So those are our staff picks. Dante, is there anything new or upcoming or relatively recent that you might want to recommend to the listeners?
Yeah, there's a new show on Apple. It's called Foundation. I think season 3 is coming out soon. I watched season 2 last year, and it's turning out to be a pretty good show. It's got good production values, good cast, and it's a pretty interesting show.
It's been very well reviewed. I know I haven't gotten to it yet. And I believe that's the one. It's based upon the Isaac Asimov novel.
Yeah,
right?
it's the Foundation series is kind of a hard thing to adapt because it takes place over like hundreds of years with a lot of different characters. But the TV show kind of amalgamated that into they found a way to keep the same characters over those time periods, which they did some creative ways to do that. So it doesn't follow the books completely, but it follows the themes of the books reasonably well. And as a science fiction show on its own, it's a pretty well done show.
Cool. I that's definitely going on my list because I have heard really good things about that and have not gotten around to see it. So we'll make sure that also shows up on our website under our staff picks. Make sure you watch Foundation on Apple TV Plus.
Well, that brings us to really the core of our show. Each season, Tom and I put together a playlist. Whenever we have guests like Dante, we do a special playlist, and that one will be available to our listeners on all the streaming services. But along with that, we have a companion playlist for each season. Tom and I will choose a song each, add it to the playlist. We're at that point. So what do you got, Tom? What's your playlist pick?
Well, I decided to stick with the theme shit we like. And a song that I've never put on a third song in playlist anyway is Santa Monica by Everclear from the album Sparkle and Fade, which came out in 1995. What's really funny is I put that on this outline at least a few days back, And last night I was watching an episode of the show Tires, which was a staff pick some time ago. It's a half-hour comedy set in Eastern Pennsylvania in like an auto repair shop. And the guy who played Lowell, do you remember the guy who played Lowell from Wings? I can't think of
Yeah.
the actor's name right now. Anyway, he's in this season of Tires. And at one point, he quotes Santa Monica last night while I was watching the show. He quotes Santa Monica, and I was like, that's Everclear. That's the song I'm getting ready to recommend. And then sure enough, at the end of the episode, he's like, by the way, that was Everclear. And he walks out of the room. So I don't know. It seemed magical to me at the time, but I may have been drinking too, so I'm not sure.
All right. Well, I'm sure I put this on other playlists of ours, Tom, but I've not put it on for 3SI. So I went with the band Wussy, Yellow Cotton Dress. It's easily one of my favorite songs of theirs ever. I put it on a playlist to my wife years ago. It's now her favorite song, and she doesn't like curse words. I do. And it has the best curse phrase that there is. Yellow cotton dress, it's beautiful, no doubt, but it becomes a motherfucker when you fill it out. So one of my favorite
Awesome.
refrains and one of my favorite songs. It's another song similar to Those Things Are Those Things Are Hers, where someone has left him and he's looking around the room and talking about all these things that remind him of her, including the yellow cotton dress. Lamenting. And by the way, I did find a recent picture of Honeymoon Suite. I think he's replaced a lot of the band members, but the lead singer looks old as fuck.
That's funny.
If I could paste it in the chat here, I would, but I don't think you can do images. And
we might have to throw that on the website where
Yes.
where we put all our pictures.
I didn't say it before, but I'll say it now. I mean, you talked about Joliet having a bad reputation. I've only been to Joliet a couple times. I'm really encouraged by it's got a strong musical community. Sounds like a strong art community, all stuff that is appealing to me. And I'm not there to see it all, but it's really cool what you're doing. So,
yeah. And we really want to thank you for showing up. As I said, this is it's a different area for us, so I'm not sure we asked all the right questions, but it was fantastic that you could take a little time and talk to us.
Yes, it was a lot of fun. Thank you.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
and really great to meet you. And
You too.
echoing what Tom said, I really appreciate you taking the time. I enjoy the conversation quite a bit.
Thank you.
Cool. Third Song In is recorded in Chapel Hill, North Carolina, Joliet, Illinois, and Elwood, Illinois. We have an email address. You can email us at thirdsongin@gmail.com. That's a great place to send us your questions, your comments, your requests, or your suggestions.
Check out our website, thirdsonginpodcast.com. As we mentioned throughout this episode, we have an As Mentioned page where you can check out information on Dante and his work, especially his Facebook page.
Please follow us wherever you listen to your podcast. Rate and review us on Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube Music, Amazon Music. You have stars. Give us your fucking stars. Download the podcast, share it with people, tell people about it in person. We can use all the help we can get. We also have a Facebook page. You can find links to a lot of our guests as well as photos, little video clips, and you can always communicate to us through Facebook if you don't want to use our email address.
Bottom line, share our playlist. It helps us out. And they're fun to listen to.
You've been listening to Third Song In with Chris Derrickson and Tom Polachek. Thanks for listening. And that, oh, I'm sorry.
Nope, you're good. I was being the MC, dude. Get out of my space.
I'm out. You've been listening to Third Song Chris with Tom in the podcast.